million?
But that's alright.
Oh my god! Yo guys, what is up? Mox here in our Borderlands 3 video, and today we are going over and discussing Iron Maiden Moze. Now, Iron Maiden Moze is a Iron Bear only Moze build that can do all content in the game just fine, if not better than Moze in some parts. It makes Iron Bear very, very strong, and it's a super fun change of playstyle. Or if you want to try something different with Moze, I really recommend this. This build can do the takedown, it can do bossing, whatever you guys want to make it do, totally fine. Now, there's some Iron Bear buffs that have happened recently that have increased the damage output of this build substantially, and we're going to be talking about everything you guys need to know for this build. Most importantly, there's a lot of things that I've learned from working on this build that increase Iron Bear's damage that doesn't say it does, things that Iron Bear can benefit from that don't say that Iron Bear benefits from. So I'm going to be sharing all of those things that I've learned with you guys today so that you understand why I did, or why I made the decisions that I made. Right now, should be showing the skill tree on the screen. Now, may look a little weird, but just remember that this is an Iron Bear focused build, and everything that we're doing is for our bear. Now, let's get into, we're going to talk about the skill tree first, and then we'll talk about the gear that complements it. So, in this skill tree, starting off on the green tree, bottomless Megs, we're going Cloud of Lead, increases Iron Bear's, Iron Bear gets incendiary damage sometimes, and we're going to increase that Iron Bear incendiary damage. Redistribution is just for our ammo regen when we're out of Iron Bear. Next up, we're grabbing Scorching RPMs. Moze gains increased fire rate and critical hit damage. Iron Bear gains increased hardpoint damage. Iron Bear damage plus 25%. Really great grab here. We're not going match set because it's decreased heat per shot, and the only thing that is using heat is the miniguns and the salamander, and we're never ever going to use the miniguns or the salamander. So don't need match set. We're just putting 1 point in here to come down and grab Specialist Bear. Specialist Bear got a huge buff recently, and this skill is a must-have for any Iron Bear build. We're going to get 60% increased damage when we're equipping 2 of the same weapons on Iron Bear. Now, I originally thought that this 2 of the same meant you had to have exact matching augments, such as Corrosive Sabot Round and Corrosive Sabot Round, that you couldn't mix and match, but you can mix and match. As long as they're on the same augment side, part of the same thing, you will get that 60% increased damage, which is really nice, which allows us to do a few new things. Now, next we're grabbing Red Tree. Security Bear is huge. 60% of our Iron Bear max health added as shield. We're going to be talking about how our Iron Bear is so unkillable in a second here, but this is a big part of it. Armored infantry for damage reduction and gun damage. Pretty simple here. Vladoff Ingenuity for increased shield and shock damage resistance. Our only focus on Moze is to not die during our cooldown of Iron Bear. So that's why we're going things like this. We're just trying to not die. We get damage reduction, get a bigger shield. Drowning in Brass is mainly just to get 2 experimental munitions, which was also recently buffed. Whenever Moze or Iron Bear scores a critical hit damage, they will deal bonus Incendiary plus 15% of our damage dealt. This is really nice. The reason we're putting these extra points in here, even though we're not grabbing anything, is this is just the right amount of points in order to get Corrosive Sabo round. Now, I probably pronounced that wrong. Leave me alone. So, I really like these 2 augments or Iron Bear weapons. The Shock Railgun and the Corrosive Railgun were both buffed by increasing the base damage of the Railgun, and both of these work amazingly. I use these 2 for the takedown. You can use both of these and nuke Wotan, nuke the Valkyries. They're really, really strong. The Corrosive round does splash damage, which we're going to be talking about in a second. The Shock version does not do splash damage. But both of these can crit, which is awesome with our experimental munitions. Desperate Measures gives us gun damage and Iron Bear hardpoint damage the lower the Iron Bear health is. Trust me, I wanted to get this, but we can't. So, maybe when we get another skill tree boost, we could grab this, and this is where we'll go. But for now, we can't. We're just grabbing our Corrosive round and our Shock rounds. Next up, Blue Tree, Fire in the Skag Den. Now it says whenever Moze deals splash damage, so deals bonus incendiary damage. Iron Bear actually benefits from this. So whenever Iron Bear does splash damage, Iron Bear's also going to get incendiary damage. That's why he puts some points into here. Putting 3 out of 3 into Deadlines. Firing Iron Bear's weapons drain less fuel. Killing enemy while Iron Bear is active increases fuel. The skill has diminishing returns. Now, the 5 out of 3 here is very, very nice. We're able to do pretty much the segments of the takedown without ever hopping out of Iron Bear, and most things without ever hopping out of Iron Bear. I did the entire Valkyrie fight in 1 Iron Bear use, which is awesome. In between boss fights or whatever, you're just going to try to kill an enemy, which you can do pretty quickly, usually in 1 or 2 shots, and you will get your Iron Bear fuel return, which is really nice. This helps us sustain Iron Bear. Next up, Stainless Steel Bear for more fuel, armor, and Iron Bear damage. This is a great skill and is being boosted by our Raging Bear Com. I don't have the best Raging Bear Com, but I don't think that you need a +5 into Stainless Steel Bear. Obviously, a +5 would increase your damage and increase your bossing capabilities. I didn't have one, so I can't try to use it. But I feel like the Deadlines boost is really nice, and we're still getting plenty of Iron Bear damage. Now, Means of Destruction is here to regen our grenades. We're using Vampire to heal us, and when we are out of Iron Bear, we don't have much healing, so we need to throw grenades to heal, and we wouldn't be able to regen those grenades without Means of Destruction, so we're going 3 out of 3 into Means of Destruction. Once again, when we're not in Iron Bear, we're just trying to survive until we get our next one. Auto Bear also really helps with that. Now, Auto Bear, while Auto Bear is deployed and our Iron Bear is doing splash damage, we actually heal from Vampire. Another crazy thing that I learned is when you're using splash damage on Iron Bear actually heals from Vampire. So using splash damage is really, really awesome for mobbing on this build. Now, using the Shock Railgun augment is awesome. I really do like it. And our original Iron Bear build used the Vanquisher Rocket Pods. I still think the Vanquisher Rocket Pods with no augment are top class. The Vanquisher Rocket Pods and these 3 augments on the Railgun are pretty much all I use. I have some footage of using the nukes. The nukes are slower boss killers. The only time to use the nuke is when there's a ton of enemies around, and the lower damage from the nuke makes up for it because it has a huge blast radius. But genuinely, like, the nuke's kind of slow. It doesn't do that much damage. Vanquisher Rocket Pods can crit and do a ton more damage and have great DPS output. So Vanquisher Rocket Pods and the Railgun and its augments are what we're going to be going for. We can use Fire, Shock, or Corrosive depending on our situation, or just plain Rocket Pods. Last up, big change. We're only putting 1 point into Grizzled and 4 into Explosive Punctuations. When we're not an Iron Bear, it really don't really kill much. 5 points into Grizzled means that at 5, your first kill you're gonna get 5 seconds, your next kill you're gonna get 4 seconds, your third kill you're gonna get 3 seconds of cooldown. This skill suffers diminishing returns very, very quickly, and all we really need is 1 point. If we do kill someone, we're gonna get a cooldown time reduction. But I found that I was rarely ever killing more than like 2 enemies with Grizzled, and if not 0. So I found that explosive punctuations could increase our cooldown rate very quickly. So we're using splash weapons when we hop out of Iron Bear to get our cooldown back. Now, there's a few more Iron Bear interactions that you guys need to know. The ones that we talked about are that Iron Bear benefits from firing the Skag Down when it's using splash damage. Iron Bear heals with Vampire. And I think those are some of the most important ones that I wasn't aware of beforehand. Now, on our gear side, we're using the Raging Bear Comm and a Last Stand Auto Idol once again just to keep us alive. Iron Bear does not benefit from Pearl. Pearl does not give Iron Bear increased damage, but you can increase your Iron Bear's damage when you're using splash damage and area of effect damage augments. Both area of effect on your artifact and splash damage on your class mod increase Iron Bear's damage and are the 2 best stat rolls you could look for. They are the only rolls that will increase Iron Bear's damage with what we're using. I haven't checked grenade damage, but you can use we'll talk about grenade damage in a second, but splash damage and area effect are what you're going to be looking for using the Raging Bear. The next big thing is Mendel's multivitamin shield. Now you can use Mendel's multivitamin or the initiative shield. Both are great choices. I went with Mendel's because it is a actual capacity shield versus the initiative shield is a 0 capacity. But the Mendel's multivitamin is going to give us 50% max health and 5% max health per second while shields are full. Now, the reason that we're using this with Iron Bear is because it actually increases Iron Bear's health or armor by 50%. This is a huge boost to Iron Bear's survivability and allows us to tank pretty much everything. Now, Security Bear gives us a 60% of Iron Bear's max health added as shield. So with 60% of that and increasing it by 50% with Mendel's multivitamin, when we hop into Iron Bear, we have 233,000 armor, which is disgusting. It's very, very hard to kill us, and we can heal by doing splash damage. So your Iron Bear is basically unkillable using this build. Super, super nice. In terms of weapons, they don't really matter. Genuinely, your weapons don't really matter. As long as you have things that you can sustain fire with and do splash damage with, you're good. Obviously not a Sentinel and Scourge, but pretty much anything you guys want to use for weapons. I mainly use a Kibsworth because it outputs good DPS. And I genuinely try to gravitate towards the 160 splash. Talk about that in a second. But anything that you can sustain splash damage fire is important. We're not focused that much on killing enemies. We're just trying to put out consistent splash damage when we're out of Iron Bear so that we can hop back in Iron Bear as fast as possible. Now, I will explain the Zetsiv's Eruption in just a second. So the Zetsiv's Eruption is a COV assault rifle that you can get from the Titan in Slaughter Shaft. Now, the Zetsiv's Eruption has a cool interaction where you can actually debuff enemies with it while reload canceling it. Let's see if my controller... I've been having controller issues. But basically, this is what I do for bossing. With this build, it allows me to hit for stupid amounts of damage, but I can Zetsiv's Eruption debuff an enemy, such as like Trot in that clip. I'll throw a grenade to cancel it, and then I'll double debuff them. When we double debuff an enemy, I believe, I forget the exact percentage, I haven't looked at this in a while, but I believe it's like around 160% 60 to 180 debuff of increased damage. Controller issues. And I'm gonna show or throw the It's Piss at them for a 20% increased damage. So this is what I do for bossing with this build. It allows me to shred any boss within a few seconds, which is very cool. This weapon does not work on Graveward, just to FYI. So I can't debuff Graveward, but any other non-floaty enemy you can debuff with this weapon and then melt them very quickly. Now, another cool thing that I learned while messing with Iron Bear is Iron Bear benefits from the Minesweeper. So the Minesweeper class mod, if you equip it with Iron Bear, when Iron Bear crits, Iron Bear can then proc Minesweeper grenades, which has a overall increase on DPS for bossing. For bossing is if you want to use the Minesweeper, you totally don't need to. That clip that we hit for 6 million with Iron Bear looked like it was a Minesweeper proc, and I had the Minesweeper on, just an FYI for you guys. And Minesweeper grenades with this build will hit consistently for about 1 million damage. So very cool. If you want to optimize your bossing, you can use a Minesweeper. The only thing about the Minesweeper, it is like the least consistent thing in planet Earth. When Minesweeper procs and works, you can hit for crazy stupid amounts of damage. One thing I will say is, if you are going to go the Minesweeper route, I would go pull the Holy Pin so that your grenades can crit. But genuinely not needed. Mainly, we just use Raging Bear. So just wanted to let you guys know, if in case you want to experiment with that. But overall, this build does all content just fine. Your augments, you're going to be real good. You can mix it up. I'm not going to say you have to use this, you have to use this. These two are my favorite. I don't love Hell on Rails, but each Hell on Rails shot hits Graveward for about 1 million, so that's pretty sick. But Vanquish Your Rocket Pods are going to be your kind of like work in any scenario, and then for specific scenarios, I use these. And the nuke if you're feeling a little feisty, but genuinely it's pretty much a DPS loss with the nuke still. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Also, people asked me about this a few times. My 15% vehicle damage is a meme. This doesn't help Iron Bear. So yeah, don't worry about that. But overall, this build is crazy. It does all content with Iron Bear, which is sick. So if you're getting tired of playing Moze, or you want to try something new, this is a great build to give a go. It's not better than Fire Hose Moze. This will not kill the takedown faster than Fire Hose Moze. That is still my favorite Moze build. But you can do the whole takedown pretty much in Iron Bear with this build, which is awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you learned something new, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!